Hey guys, Blockchain Bernie here. Solana's economic value just hit new all-time highs. And what does that mean? What does economic value mean? If you look at the Solana blockchain and compare it to valuation models of some companies and stock that you might buy instead of the Sol token, then you can think of the economic value as the return that the Sol token gives you, right? And even though the return is only in Sol, right? That's like fodder for the people that say, well, blockchain and crypto, it's all like a big Ponzi scheme, right? But people are paying money to pay for that Sol and then use it on the Solana chain to pay for those fees, right? So it's kind of real economic value here. And the Solana chain provides value. It provides a world state machine, a world computer that software can be run on in a fully decentralized manner. Tamper-proof, censorship resistant, and all these type of things that you cannot do on normal servers, on normal Web 2 servers, right? So that's a lot of value that's given to the world. And now let's dive into the numbers here. But before I do that, don't forget to smash that like button for me, subscribe to my channel, because it'll all give you points on the Xandeum platform, points.xandeum.org, so you can claim your points for liking my videos, subscribing to my channel, etc. So let's dive into the things here. We have a post here. Solana just printed a new all-time high in monthly economic value, fees plus MEV, at $91.3 million per month, which is $1.1 billion annualized. That is like a big, big company that's creating value like crazy. By the way, this is the X platform here. I'm Blockchain Bernie. Follow me on X as well, and follow XandeumLabs on X as well. It's all giving you points. So now let's dive into this here, and let's enlarge it a little bit. So here we see the block space profitability. So we saw a spike. Should I call it a spikelet? Huh? In late 2021. That was the last bull run, right? And we saw that Solana produced some economic value around this time. But look at the size of this here that we're in right now. And it started in late 2023. And then you see the different colors here, right? So that light green here is like kind of a mint green. That's the MEV tips. And we see the vote fees here, and we see the non-vote transaction fees in that dark green, right? So the vote has almost stayed the same, right? Which is kind of understandable because, you know, it's just those 2,000 or so validators that are voting each and every slot, one slot like 400 milliseconds, and all these votes need to be paid for, right? That's the economic value here. And that flows into the Solana chain. And then the dark green ones, those are the transaction fees for non-vote transactions, right? And that all skyrocketed with the introduction of priority fees, right, in late 2023. So that just means in late 2023, that dark green stuff here is the non-vote transaction fees, and those took off here and then really started taking off in March, where some innovations came out, right? It was the OR token that came out in March and some other stuff. So people were enjoying the new Solana and were, you know, requesting transactions like crazy. So this blockchain is very, very well utilized, and people pay these priority fees to get their transactions through, and they pay the MEV tips using the Jito chain to get their transactions through in bundles, right? So they see some opportunity on the blockchain. For example, arbitrage opportunities. They bundle several transactions into one, and then they tip validators to get these bundles through without all in one block, right? Without anything getting in between. And in the middle, we have the vote transaction fees, and those have stayed constant as was expected. So now let's see the breakdown here. We see that breakdown of vote fees here again, the blue ones, the base fees, the priority fees, and the MEV tips, right? So the vote fees again is the vote fees, right? And while they have stayed almost constant, their share of the total fees is like minuscule these days, right? That's because most of the fees is like the base fee to get a transaction through. These were quite high here in these days in summer 2023, but with the introduction of priority fees, most went into priority fees. That's that teal color here. And you see priority fees is by far the biggest part here. And then we have the MEV tips as well. So yeah, this is how it looks like. So now let's compare these 1.1 billion as of today, right? 1.1 billion in economic value. Let's compare that to Solana's market cap. Let's look into CoinGecko here, and let's have a look. Solana's market cap is about 65 billion at the time of recording. So that would mean the market cap is about 60x of the economic value that's being produced. So now the economic value, what could we compare that to with, you know, companies, growth companies that you might invest into as an alternative of investing into Solana? And by the way, none of the things in this video is considered investment advice. I don't know your personal situation, and I'm not a financial advisor, so this is not financial advice. So that said, you know, with kind of a PE, right? So that's tempting now, right? PE is the price earnings ratio. So that means the price, the total market cap of a stock divided by its total earnings, right? So that would be, if we say, well, the price is clear, it's 65 billion in the case of Solana, and then the economic value is 1.1 billion, right? So that'd be around 60. We have a price earnings of around 60, which I still think is great given the growth potential of Solana here, right? So an old rule is like you have that price earnings growth ratio, PEG. That's something I look into a lot. And it's like, if we expect the thing to grow like 60% year over year for the next few years, and then it has a price earnings, a PE of 60, that would be a great valuation these days, right? So I think the growth of 60% year over year is probably an understatement on the Solana chain. It'll go up and down, right? There might be periods where it's shrinking, right? And less block space is needed and stuff like that. But, you know, thinking in typical investment horizons of like 5 to 10 years, I think it's fair to assume an average growth rate of 60% of the Solana chain over the next 5 to 10 years, right? And then I think at a PE of 60, and now, hey, a PE would normally be like, it's just the earnings of the company. But if you look at companies, like the earnings, it's after taxes and after depreciation and everything, but it's not cash flow, right? Now, usually the free cash flow with most companies, especially growth companies, is lower than the earnings, right? Because there are some other things in the books and accounting rules and stuff like that. This here is like, if you own Solana, you don't have any other kind of expenses there or something like that. It's almost like a free cash flow here, right? That you have with these 1.1 billion. So I think it's probably not fair to compare it to a PE of 60. It'll likely be a smaller PE, which makes the SOL token even more attractive. and, you know, the growth of the Solana chain. For example, with Anza, a spin-off of SolanaLabs, has just announced that they are publishing the SVM API, Solana Virtual Machine API, which makes Solana way more pluggable into the whole ecosystem of blockchains that we have out there, right? And can put it up into the league of the likes of Ethereum and the EVMs and stuff like that, and take it out of its, like, a universe of its own type of thing, which it has been for a bunch of years recently, right? So it's getting out of that kind of prison, the Solana chain, and it's growing like crazy, and it's generating 1.1 billion in fees each and every year, and it's growing and growing. And, you know, with some other things like OR V2 on the horizon, and OR is one of these apps that's, you know, capturing Solana transactions. If someone has solved that cryptographic puzzle that is part of proof of work, right? So OR is bringing proof of work on top of proof of stake chain like Solana. And then everyone who has solved that riddle and has some hashes that fulfill the rules, then they want to get their transaction through at all costs, right? So, and that puts so much more load on the Solana chain. And Solana has been working on getting the validator software improved so that it can handle all that volume. And it can. We're at 1.18.15 right now. There are some further enhancements in the works with 1.19. And that means the chain can handle way, way more block space and can thus collect way, way more fees. So I'm expecting at least a 3x, 5x in economic value of the Solana chain within the next 3 months, right? So mark your calendars. If that's not going to happen, then I don't know, I'll buy you a beer. But yeah, and think about that. I think we're at 5-10 billion each and every year, generated in fees on the Solana chain. I think we're not far away from that. Which makes the current Sol price really seem like a steal. I'm not selling mine, at least, and might be buying more at, some prices, but I'm already quite heavily invested, so I'm not really someone that can or, would aggressively buy more. But if you're not heavily invested yet, yeah, I mean, even at these prices today, 130, 140-ish, it's a good place to increase your position there. All right, so new all-time highs. That's fantastic. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to my channel, and leave me comments of what you think about how's the valuation of Solana, how does it compare to the economic value that's being produced, and how you see the future of Solana in general, and your experience with Solana. When did you get in? When did you sell? When did you buy more? I'm interested in all of that. And for today, thanks so much for watching, and catch you guys in the next video.